Hello MavMind Collective, my name is Maverick Garner, and this is the top 3 most persuasive words. So a few years ago I read this book when I was going through a stint where I was learning all about persuasion and became really good at persuasion from just studying and taking some training and just really practicing and incorporating persuasion, using persuasion language and hypnotic language, and incorporating hypnosis also into the same patterns to persuade my clients or prospects. Like I've said before in some of my other videos, if you're in the sales profession and you're a salesperson right now, you're watching this, you're already a hypnotist, you just don't know it yet. And you're probably good at persuasion, but maybe you know about these 3 words or maybe you don't, but I'm going to just share them. I read this book, it's called The 27 Powers of Persuasion, 27 Powers of Persuasion. And this was one of the chapters that I really gravitated to, and I went, wow, this is so easy, I'm totally going to steal this and use this. And they had some, all the chapters had different persuasion tricks and techniques, but the 3, in this chapter about the 3 most powerful words to persuade with, I really connected with the underlying model, the underlying reason it worked, and continue to use these 3 words. And I also have taught many other salespeople and taught other classes in using this particular trick, this technique. So I'm going to share it with you now. So the 3 words are fair, choice, and accountability. Fair, choice, and accountability. Those are the 3 words. Fair. The reason we use fair is because most of us grow up in our society, typically, and especially in American society, but any civilized society, or even maybe primitive society too. The idea of being fair is sort of universal. It's sort of, your survival's dependent on being fair. Back in our history and evolution, if you were part of a tribe and you were trying to survive in a tribe, if you weren't fair with everyone else in the tribe, you got thrown out of the tribe. If you tried to take more than your share, if you tried to be unfair or capitalize on an unfair advantage, you either became the leader or you got thrown out. But once you became the leader, then you had to make sure that you were being fair and everyone else was being fair, and you were enforcing the fairness in order to survive, because the reliance on each other is what helped you survive in the very harsh conditions, very early primitive man in our evolution. So that's actually stuck with us in our brains, part of our evolution, ever since. Millions and millions of years later, we still have this innate ability that we just want to be fair. And everything we do typically involves being fair. So most of us will not argue with each other if publicly we all say, let's keep this fair, let's be fair. People won't argue with it. So if you start a phrase, for example, a meeting, even today with a prospect or a client, and you say, to be fair, or in order to make sure we're keeping things fair, comma, and then whatever you want action you want to do or take, you just say it. But you started out with about making it fair, even if it doesn't make sense how it's going to be fair. Even if it's let's say I don't want to talk about pricing in this meeting, I'll say, to be fair, or in all due fairness, I'd like to take pricing off the table during this meeting, and we'll talk about that at a later meeting. Or you could say, in order to make sure we keep things fair for both sides, I'm going to go ahead and take pricing off the table until another, or whatever you want to do, you just say it. And even though in their minds they might go, well, how is that fair? They won't do that. They'll just go, oh, okay. They just won't even argue with being fair. Because even if they don't understand, they now have a sense that you, for some reason, believe that it's fair. You have a reason that it's fair, and they'll just assume that reason, whatever it is, they'll make it up, because that's what our brains do. We'll make it up, and then they'll just relax and go, oh, okay. All right. And they won't challenge you. They won't say, no, I want to be unfair and I want you to talk about pricing. They won't do that. Unless they're like a psychopath or a sociopath or something, then they'll totally do that. And I've had a couple meetings out of the thousands of meetings I've had with clients. I've only had it happen twice. And yeah, they were total sociopathic, total jerks. And they'll do that. But most of the time, 99% of the time, they won't even argue with it. Same thing goes with accountability. If you make things about being accountable, you know, hey, in order to make sure you're accountable and I'm accountable, we hold each other accountable to this, I'm going to take pricing off the table until another. Again, you don't have to explain why. You don't have to make the connection. Let them make the connection with being accountable, because they believe that you believe to be accountable, you got to not talk about pricing, or you got to we're not going to do a demo today, or we're not going to talk about this part of our product, just to make sure that we're being accountable and holding each other accountable. Okay. And then usually I'll ask, is that cool? And I'll let them, I need to force them to agree, like make a decision on saying, yes, that's okay, or no, that's not okay. And again, they'll pretty much always have to think and go, wow, put on the spot like that. They'll say, oh, okay. And they'll back off, and you can persuade them to not talk about or not go down that rabbit hole during the meeting. So fairness and accountability kind of work the same way like that. Choice is a little different. Choice, well, in some ways it's a little different. In some ways it's exactly the same, because most of us want choices in what we do. So if you give someone one choice, it kind of traps them. That's not a choice. That's me dictating. If I say, here's your option, you only have one option, you're like, that's no option. I just got to do what you're telling me to do. Nobody likes that. If I give you, all right, here's your 20 options to choose from, nobody likes that either, because it's like overwhelming. Like, I don't want 20 options. I want like 2 or 3 options. So, and in some of my other videos, like my masterclass video on the MavMind method or whatever, I talk a little bit more about how to use the options more to your advantage, and how to do it with more of it, the hypnotic patterns that you can use with options. But in this video, I'm really talking about just the persuasiveness of presenting a choice in general, not how you present the choice, like I talk about in my classes, in my other things you can buy or whatever. This is about the idea of having a choice. Like, in order to make sure we both have a choice, I'm going to take pricing off the table for now. And to make sure that we have some options between us, that we both have some options here, I'm going to defer discussing this part of our product until a later time. Is that okay? So in other words, again, you're not explaining why you need choices or how you're able to have a choice by not doing something in the meeting or not talking about something. You're just saying, in order to make sure we have choices, the idea of that everyone deserves choices in our life. We all deserve choices. It's sort of like saying, in order to be fair, I'm just saying, in order to have choices, which I believe we all should have, I'm going to say this and not do this. Or I need you, here's another thing you can do, you can make them take an action. In order to make sure that we have some choices between us, I'm going to need you to tell me a little bit more about the competitors you're working with and why you're talking to us also, instead of going with a competitor or whatever. And then they'll just start telling you about their competitors, because they don't want to argue with your idea of having choices. They don't want to take your choice away. So again, don't explain how it's connected. Let them make the connection, and then just say, is that okay? And then they say yes, and then now they're doing what you want them to do, or you're able to do what you want to do or not do, if that makes sense. So again, fairness, choice, and accountability. Those are the 3 most persuasive words that you can use in your meetings with your clients. And I hope you found this valuable today. I hope this video lit off a light bulb in your mind, and maybe you're going to use one of these words or try it the next time you're with a client or prospect. And if you found it valuable, please subscribe to this channel, or go to MavMind.com and just sign up for my emails. I'll send you emails when I put out new videos like this, or when I have a new course that you can enroll in and take and learn and get into the depths of, like the masterclass of MavMind method, or anything else, book I'm writing or publish or whatever, and you want to read it or listen to the audiobook, you can learn about it at MavMind.com by signing up. So I hope this was valuable and worth your time. Please leave a comment, please subscribe, tell me what you thought, and encourage me to keep doing it, and I will. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day.